Boom. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to TRI's Crypto Countdown. TRI's Crypto Top 100 Review. Crypto tastes great. Crypto can't wait. Crypto tastes great. Hey, look at that. We're recording live. I got the stream set up. I was in Portugal past month or so I haven't really been doing these shows that much lately, but as you can see, I got the video camera up and running, doing tons of video all over Portugal. So I thought, what the hell, let's try and get this thing working here on YouTube as well. Hi everybody, peekaboo. I look like a bum, so I got the baseball hat on. Got my, actually, this is the crypto show, so if anything, this is perfect. I'm looking nice and degen. If anything, I should have my mask on. But I don't know whether you can see on the camera. This is a really cool hoodie, TRI hoodie. Look at that, isn't that cool? Anyway, so we got tons of this merch stuff. I think what we should probably do is maybe even like on these shows, look to try and like hand out maybe merch on a regular basis for regular followers. You know, there's Adam. I gave Adam a big shout out. He booked the second place that we stayed at over there in Portugal in Oliveira da Hospital. Man, that was sweet. Digs. Adam knocked the cover off the ball in that place. That was super cool. So every time I see him, I always want to give him a big shout out and thank you for awesome plays. And I guess you made it back to Cali all right, so that's good to see. Took, as I said, some time off here from crypto and from the market. And actually, it looks like the last time we did a show was back in the end of August. Didn't even think about doing anything in September. It's a bit of a surprise. So I don't know. Paul, if you have access to this sheet, maybe while we're working away, you can fill this out. Although I get the impression Paul's now like Mr. OG guy, so he's got a whole bunch of followers and site subscribers to his own website, so maybe he's like, screw it, Brian, get some assistant to do it. I'm too mature for that kind of request. I don't know. Anyway, probably should say hello. So, Paul, are you here today?
Yeah, good morning.
There he is. Yeah, it's middle of the night still for you now, eh? So when you wake up in the mornings now to do this show, is it still dark out?
Yeah, it's 4 a.m.
4 a.m. Sometimes in the middle of the summer, actually, the sun is starting to come up at that time of day. So, but now I can tell when I'm back at my digs here in Vancouver, it's dark out when I wake up in the morning to do futures trading. So anyway, nice to hear your voice again, Paul. And actually, I have to say, when I was over in Portugal, actually, we had one of the gentlemen on the site who does the write-up for the daily briefs, Zbanji, actually, in Canada, but Rares, and he was from Romania, and his wife, I think is his wife, maybe his girlfriend, but his wife was there as well. And they were telling me that, holy geez, we got a lot of Romanians on this website and taking the school and learning how to trade and manage money. I was so impressed, and I suppose that's half thanks to you, Paul, our Romanian policeman nightmare, crypto trader. But we've got TRIs right across the country, so much so that I think I'm going to have to do a tour of Romania in particular. And I've always wanted to tour that sort of Eastern European part of the world. So maybe after things settle down, hopefully with Vladdy, the dickhead over there in Russia causing trouble. Maybe when things settle down there and people are in a more peace-loving mood, I might come on over and do a grand tour of Romania. And actually, I remember we had one guy on the site, Dan, who was supposed to be my Transylvanian real estate agent. So got to hook up with him as well. So anyway. All right, so we're back in the saddle here. We've got the show back up and running. Hopefully I can give you some half-decent value for your time spent. Unfortunately, though, we're in a part of the market state that's probably the absolute hardest for this entire sort of crypto cycle and the venture capital cycle. So, and unfortunately, you know, if you're an old timer at this game, you've probably been through a few of these troughs. And half of our job is just to sit and patiently wait for the trough to play itself out. You know, if you're not aware, probably a good idea for you to learn about the money masters and the way the money masters control our society. And when the money masters basically are demanding that the economy cool, and unfortunately they even publicly say things like, we are going to make you feel pain, that usually means falling asset prices and people don't feel nearly as wealthy as they did previously. If you're not familiar with it, then I think the simple adage, and you know, if you are watching this video to learn, you should have your notepads out, your journals, you know, have your thinking caps on, and probably the phrase that probably best describes all of this is, do not fight the Fed. It's bad for your health. So, we're going to have Ben join us. Ben is in Florida. And unfortunately, Florida is right in the middle of I think it's like a mid-tier hurricane. It's not like the absolute worst hurricane possible, but I also think it's making landfall. So as a result, the storm itself should be breaking up a bit. I think it's Hurricane Ian. I'm not quite sure if I've got that right. But you can see that lots of, you know, if you want to go look in the media, tons and tons of references of it. Churning away right over the Florida coast. And if anything, I don't even know if I think this is the right image. Actually, it's interesting. Yeah, there we go. So I think Ben is right about there. So wish Ben, he's got his waders on and his floaties, and he's keeping his head above water. So, but he did say that there still was power in his neck of the woods. Oh, looks like my camera's about to die here. Hey man, these cameras, they churn through batteries like there's no tomorrow. So give me a second here, I'll replace the battery. But as I said, while I'm replacing the battery on this camera, I'll talk you through. Ben said he would going to try and join us, but obviously weather permitting, and I suppose electricity supply permitting. If the electricity goes out, then we're definitely not going to see Ben. I think I heard that Cuba, the entire island, lost all of its electricity. I don't know whether that's just shoddy infrastructure, because I would imagine. Let's see if I can charge this back up. There we go. Yeah, look at that. Not bad. Well, we haven't quite got the camera back yet. Let's see. Are we back? And we're back! Yay! So actually I'm getting pretty good at doing this freestyle. Also too, you know, I've been working away on this. I would like to have an alternative to YouTube just in case they, you know, they decide to pull some sort of power trip on us. So we do have this channel up and running here on Rumble. And actually I even bought stock in this SPAC. Because I like the deal. I like the idea that YouTube really could use some competition. So I have this channel up and running, and I think what I'm going to do just in the near term is do a weekly commodity trend survey. I used to do this as a commodities broker years and years ago. And it's cool to see on the website we do have the weekly commodity trend survey sheet up and running. It's a very basic overview of the market, but in essence it's looking at the market from a weekly perspective and just trying to identify trends. That was interesting. Crypto, the only market that actually is spitting up a, you know what, this is a half decent idea, you ought to take a real good look at, is ETC right now, which is interesting. Might be interesting to get our panel as a view of ETC and whether they would be interested in participating in that. I don't know, geez, I don't know whether I keep, problem is I keep moving my butt, so the camera keeps changing. But anyway, there you go. Actually, it looks pretty handsome. I'll give you a big kiss. Mwah! There you go, YouTube. In your face. Hey, look at that. Good timing. The Benkov check has just arrived. There he is. The man, the myth, the legend.
Hey, hey.
You still got electricity there?
Yeah.
Yeah. We were just joking.
For now.
I was showing pictures of the Florida and the hurricane and it going right over your house. We could literally see you waving up at us. Anyway.
I gotta change my background actually.
Yeah, in actual fact, I've got the camera on for my camera image here on the call. I asked Paul whether he wanted to be seen, and he was kind of like, nah, I think I'll pass. But I did see your camera on there just briefly, so I don't know. I mean, you're such a handsome guy. Let's see, where is Ben? There he is. Look at him. What a handsome guy. Look at that smile. He's got like $1 million smile. Ben, you're awesome. Anyway, so welcome, Ben. I said hellos to Paul. I don't know whether I did a very good job of it. I'm terrible at these intros. But how are you, Ben? I haven't talked to you in a bit.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, I'm doing good. A little under the weather, but I'm feeling good and happy to be here and happy to see you guys.
Excellent. Well, that's kind of cool. And for the record, did I check in with you, Paul? Did I give you the opportunity to actually say hello? I think I cut you off, but anyway. How are you, Paul?
I'm good. Just waking up.
Just
I'm
waking
looking
up.
at the charts already. I'm trying a scalp.
Yeah, that's what you said. Actually, it's interesting how the breadth indicator is actually pointed back down here, and if I'm not mistaken, I think you said you're actually scalp shorting, I guess, Ethereum right now?
Yep, on Ethereum, yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So we'll get a nice little report from Paul as well. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get a little update on how things are looking here in crypto land. Probably the first thing that we ought to do is check in with our little spreadsheet here. Well, I guess the last show that we did was back on the 28th of September. Does that sound right? No, that's today. Knucklehead. I know I hopped on a plane on the 6th of September, and I was gone for like, better part of 2 or 3 weeks. So I guess the last show that we did was that Wednesday, the 31st of August. Yeah, so there we go. So we came out of that show with Brian feeling a little bit uppy. I guess that's what this is. Is that what that is? Yeah, Brian a little bit uppy. Looks like Paul a little bit uppy, and Ben, ooh, you were quite negative. Is that did we vote for you? Was that one of those?
Yeah.
I think so.
All right. So the now we're I don't know whether we want to go week by week, but we'll just jump into here we are now. So interesting that basically almost a full month later, we're a grand total of $500 different on the price. So I guess nobody wins the booby prize. I guess -1 would have won the booby prize. But I don't know, actually. Does that work if I go down like that? Let's see what happens. Oh, there you go. Yeah, 2.5. So nobody won the booby prize. But yeah, we'll start hit the ground running here today, and maybe we'll have a half decent call here. Honestly, I'm not quite sure what the best thing course of action here is today. Maybe I'm a bit out of the loop. Like I said, I was off touring around Europe and kind of trying to do a pseudo vacation. So, what do you think, Paul? Do you want to just jump into your summary of what you see happening in the market?
Yeah, why not?
All right. Well, that makes that easy. Let's see how we're gonna do this. Maybe if you screen share, I'll
Yeah.
stop screen sharing, so I'm stop presenting. And if you screen share, maybe we can see your screen. I guess I'm gonna leave my camera on, but maybe Paul, if you feel like it one day, you can get a camera. Look at Paul, he's all grown up. Look at this, Crypto Traders Arena. Ooh, all fancy schmancy. All right. Okay, I'll put myself on mute, and I think I'm probably just going to minimize my picture right now because you don't want to see me picking my nose. So, Paul, you've got the floor. Tell these good people what's on your mind here today.
Like usual, I'm just day trading, but we had some good results last month. At least the 1 month from where we didn't do the 100 crypto show. On this week, actually last week, weekly report. Last week, pretty good results. I could say 12% profit. I guess it's okay. It's nice. But on weekly chart, I see bottom of the range, all-time highs 2017, holding at least at the moment. In my opinion, I think we can range between 18 and 22k a bit longer. I don't know if market will broke the lows and go down to 14k. I like to play level by level, so I don't like to assume too many things. At this moment, on weekly chart, we are at the 2017 all-time highs. Give us some support until we break 17.5k. I'm thinking bullish on daily and weekly chart. Looks a bit ugly, but still holds the level, so it's okay for now. On daily chart, we had we have this big reload zone. So this is the bigger reload zone, and we are in below the second one, the smallest one from the 18k to 25k. Still, we have location for hunting along. We need a clear W on daily chart if you want to do that, but still I'm hunting longs now. I don't have enough reasons to think short, and I don't like to look for shorts in multiple reload zones. I know a lot of people they are bearish, but I'll play level by level. For me, if price goes to 14k and even below, it's a buying opportunity. I'll buy a lot of altcoins. I'll buy Bitcoin. Now is too late to sell. It's an ugly location for me to think short, even on above 4 hours. I'll look only for longs. Yeah, day trading. Yeah, I'll look for longs. Short doesn't matter. So on daily chart, multiple reload zones, bullish divergence on daily chart, potential one on MACD, RSI, bullish divergence. Wheelie is almost oversold, not yet, but still. And I see a nice bullish divergence in OBV on daily chart. Keep in mind this weekly report was made Sunday, so but we still have the same levels now. On Sunday in the 4 hour chart, I was thinking range, and I was just playing the range at that moment. In meantime, I'll show you exactly what happened and what we managed to take profit from this range. And now we are back in the same range. So I love the when I see a nice range because I could play it pretty easily and it's very profitable. You just look for shorts at the top of the range, longs at the bottom of the range, and you try to stay out of the middle of the range when you don't have enough reasons to enter a trade. Pretty profitable. At one moment you'll be stopped out, the range will be broken, but until then you'll make profit. And for me at least, it's really profitable when I see a clear range. Bitcoin dominance on 4 days at the bottom of the range. I'm still expecting to a nice retest of the at the bottom of the range, and maybe after that we can make a nice W and go to the middle of the this range at 44. This moment is just a bearish retest or a dead cat bounce for me. I'm not thinking yet that Bitcoin will get some dominance back. We hit the AB equals CD target, nice SFU at this level, and now if I see a clear W, yeah, I could think Bitcoin could take some dominance back, but at this moment, just a bounce. Ethereum versus Bitcoin on weekly chart. On weekly chart, nice retracement from the top of the range after the merge or the news we had on Ethereum. Ethereum just broke down versus Bitcoin, and even even now we are at the same level. Total two, same idea like Bitcoin. 2017 all-time highs offer some support. If I zoom a little bit, you will see bounce from that level. We have an M indeed, but the location is not okay to think M and broken down. The same idea like in Bitcoin, we have multiple reload zones. I'm still expecting a bounce. September it's almost gone, so I don't know. We'll see. If we will break these lows and close below, yeah, we can think we can go down even more, and we have a lot of room to go down if we break this support. But at this moment, I'm still thinking we can bounce from this level. Just my 2 cents. I post usually the calendar for the week, so only the most important ones. We had some news, even today we had a lot of news, a lot of Fed speaking. They they'll just pump the market, dump the market. This week I just sit on the sidelines on swing trading and just scalping on Bitcoin and Ethereum. I did not do anything else. Most altcoins, like I said in the newsletter, we have location, a really nice location, but on some of them we don't have anything else. We have some potential divergence. We have location, but we don't have a clear W to put a long trade. Some ideas, the market is in the same place now. Solana, really nice location. Maybe maybe we can put a W this week or maybe next week. Who knows? Still holds the June lows, so it's okay. I'm still thinking we can put a nice W, but I'm waiting for that W. I'm not buying at this level. AVAX, same idea. Still keeping the lows, trying to form a nice W. We'll see. E-gold, E-gold has some news in November, I guess, from what I understand on Twitter. So I'll try to hunt a W on this one. This one was an idea from the group. Same logic. Reload zone. I try to keep it really simple. I have the reload zone. I'm waiting for a price structure. We have bullish divergence on most of them, but until I get a clear W, I I don't like to buy it without a clear market structure. At least on swing trading. On day trading, using LJs and different setups. Hard mode, still we are still in the hard mode. And this week I said I'll keep my risk per trade at maximum 1%. I guess it's okay to keep the risk per trade really low. I don't like to risk too much money when I don't have a clear edge and a clear direction in the market. So let's see on Bitcoin, not this one, just a second, please. On 4-hour chart, and then I'll go on even lower ones. So Sunday, we are at this level. I was thinking long. I had a long scalp from this level. I managed to get above the middle of the range, and we broke the range. And everyone on Twitter and all the social media thinking bullish. Yeah, we'll break this. We'll go to 25. No, it's still a range. You see this level. So I was able to put a really nice short on lower time frame exactly at 20K and $100, something like that. Even some traders I was discussing that said no, 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 it's we don't have enough confirmation, but seems like was a okay trade for going back, was just a fake out and going back at the bottom of the range. Now at this moment, I had a I had a short on Mountain Man 61.8 short reload zone. We'll see if this trade will get me some profit or not. But at the moment, same idea. We are back in the range. I'll try to hunt shorten this area and longs in the lower part, 18,500, 18,800, something like that. I have a scalp now live on Ethereum, but seems like I'm stopped out. I was framing this LJ setup in the before we got in the meet. Really nice LJ, clear EM. I put a stop limit order at this level when the EM will be confirmed. Get in my favor a little bit, and now I guess I'm stopped out. I'll have to check on Binance platform to see exactly if hit my level or not. But I'm still thinking short reload zone on Ethereum. That's why I'm thinking short. And from Monday until now, we managed to scalp. We didn't do anything else because we don't have a clear direction. Yeah, market is at support. Let's see 1 hour chart on Bitcoin. 1 hour, sorry. But in this range, we don't have a clear direction. If until the market will decide a clear direction, I don't think it's any point to to front run any setup and buy altcoins. They could go a lot lower. I'm thinking longing this support, but I need a W. That's from my part. I just try to keep it simple and make money. If it's a bear, okay. If it's a bull, okay. I want to make money, not to predict the direction of the market. So I'll play level by level until the level will be broken, and then I'll search for another range or a micro trend and playing setups all the way. It's pretty profitable for me, and it's a simple idea. I don't have to complicate it too much. That's it from me, from my part, Brian. I don't think it's anything else I could say. Yeah, just testing the short reload zone. Yeah, I have. When I use limit orders or stop limit orders and OCO orders every damn time. When I put the order in place, I have my stop loss every time.
I hear you. Better safe than sorry.
Sometimes I'll avoid to put the take profit because I want to maximize the profit, but I'm not playing around with stop loss. I learned my lesson in the hard way, so no.
Right. So as I said there a second ago, you just said a minute ago that you were just gonna go check Binance to make sure you got your order filled. So why don't we'll give you that opportunity to go see if your stop was honored.
Yeah, if I
And
look at the chart, I don't need to check it anymore.
I suppose excellent review. And on the heels of that, maybe I'll give you sort of my 2 cents of what I see happening with the corn and Ethereum, and then hopefully maybe what we'll do is we'll pop on over and look at a couple altcoins that maybe have people's attention right now. All right, so why don't we'll end your presentation.
Yeah, I'll close my presentation.
We'll jump back on over here, and by all means, if you feel like doing more presenting, feel free. And of course, Ben is with us, and would love to have your input. If you feel like adding anything to the equation here, feel free to chime in, sir. You still got electricity in there in Florida?
I do, yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific prepared, so I'm happy to help kind of manage the spreadsheet if you wanted to dive into some coins that people are interested in. And
yeah. So, all right, I'll do just a quick overview of what I see. And I'll keep it really simple. We don't need to overthink this. So I'll do maybe just stamp or something, just a nice simple cash market. So good old Bitcoin. Hey, you can see somebody's active. We're gonna put all that nonsense away. Let's see, where are we here? Trading. Get rid of all this stuff. All right. And I gotta say, I kind of like Paul's thinking here about hunting long setups. It's interesting how this low here, they took it down there in 18th of June. So in essence, the entire summer was basically just spent going sideways. I do like the fact that, for all intents and purposes, if we change this to a line chart, what letter of the alphabet does that look like? So that's kind of interesting. I suppose from a clothesline basis, that's a little bit concerning that we're making lower highs and lower lows. Let's see, what else can I add to this equation? I don't think we're done this correction until we finish this big honkin' harmonic pattern that goes from up here down to here, and then clone that there to there. So me personally, and of course I've been going on at length over the past year or so about things like cost of production and where value is on something like a Bitcoin. And I do really like that. In fact, I really like the sort of sub 10,000 level, just to really break the kids' hearts. All the sort of marginal miners, they'll all be washed out of the business. Then we probably start getting talk about 51% attacks, and then that'll be sort of your sign of a bottom. I'm actually kind of thinking, based on this, this reminds me a lot of this market. Now we came down to that 6,000 area, and we just bumped along, and then finally had one final puke out. And I get the feeling this, like, November, we're probably going to see something along those lines in Bitcoin. And actually, the interesting thing about this is if you don't get too wrapped up in this, what you actually found was very quickly, this was 2018, absolute train wreck. But notice 2019, we actually got a rally right back into Mountain Man. In that case, 13,000, very, very quickly. Probably once the calendar year is over. There's going to be a lot of tax loss selling and stuff into year end. That's typically what happens on Wall Street. I do think that crypto and Bitcoin and all that, I actually, I don't like the fact, but I can definitely see that the 1% is putting all the pieces in place to make it basically illegal for U.S. citizens to invest in Bitcoin anywhere other than where the 1% is going to make all of the money from commissions and transaction fees, exchange ticket fees and all that kind of stuff for American citizens. And actually I'm quite surprised the way that Binance has been able to sort of skirt all that. But one by one, all these other exchanges around the world and stuff, they're all getting sort of, marginalized. Because people like, Loeffler's, right? They own the ICE exchange and, of course, the CME people. Sadly, actually, I really think that the United States is really, it's not a free market whatsoever. It is a highly, highly manipulated market that serves the 1%. And all the Rothschilds and all that bullshit, right? So we don't really live in a free market. Anyway, point that I'm trying to make here is once this is sort of completed, I don't see any reason why we can't, in 2023 at some point actually dead cat bounce our way right back to something like 47,000. Wouldn't surprise me one bit. And all that is just basically a replication of this. And I do remember there was one gentleman on the site who rode through this market. He rode through this, and then he just went absolutely insanely sort of hypersensitive on this rally through here, and he kind of lost it a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of people that got involved in crypto through this, have had to go through this nightmare and have probably lost a lot of faith and a lot of confidence in themselves. And you just got to keep your head cool. I don't necessarily recommend that people shoot for 61.8. This is a shorting zone if we do get back up there, and you can see how it's just a play against those old highs. What I would simply say is that good old 50% roll, WD GAN. That's $40,000 a coin. I think that's perfectly realistic on some sort of following bounce. And then remember, this is the good part about Bitcoin, sort of rise-only market. I think you could make the argument that, let's see, where should we do this? I think it was this one. Here's our crazy cycles chart. All these funny little lines. Everything seems to be humming along right on cue. So this was our, basically 1 year of shit. Last cycle. So there is the 1 year of shit. And you can see we're coming right up into that anniversary date. You can see I even sort of was kind of half expecting we got one big final dump into this sort of capitulation low. That would be almost like the perfect anniversary there on that event there. That's what I was kind of thinking. And the irony of it all is you go back to this cycle and it looks almost identical. So I don't really see any reason why this is going to look any different this go around. So there, and really the way I would the way I've been describing it to people is I don't think your high is actually the cycle reference. And I think actually here's a good example where technically Bitcoin itself, right, it actually topped out one cycle further along. So I do like that the halving event is actually your cycle reset. So here's our halving event coming up there, April 24 kind of idea. Gonna have to get through 23. But I think the general rule is about 6 months or so prior to the halving event. If you really want to start loading up on these coins in this space to take advantage of that coming cycle, it's that window about 6 months prior to the halving event when you really want to get serious about this. Then also too, just this is the technical picture, good old reload zones. You've heard Brian squawking about how usually markets love to bottom off that 78.6. I don't see any reason why this go round is going to be any different. In fact, a tweet that I put out just recently, I think summarizes sort of what I'm thinking here nicely. This is on a log scale, so this is that CME contract again. 61.8 bounce following the capitulation bottom, which is just nothing more than a revisit from one end of the range to the bottom end of the range, then big fat weekly W. So there we are, top of the range, come down to the bottom end of the range, probably put in some sort of big fat W down in here. And I like the idea that, through the end of the year, this is that October-November dump. Interestingly enough, if we go and look at stock market kind of thinking, and that is, where's the best way to show you that? This is the kind of stuff that I talk about on the site on a daily basis with the members. Let's see, how am I going to do this? Actually, I think it's right. Here it is, the blog. Yay. I like the idea that this image right here, I think, has been just an absolutely fantastic roadmap for sort of risk assets through this year. It's been a crappy year, eh? Thank God we're through most of the damage. I think we're in this period here, and that Bitcoin making one final FU move against the lows. It looks like the stock market, they were expecting one final move against the lows into the sort of late October, early November. And keep in mind, we have a big political event coming up down in the United States. And I get the impression that the socialists are going to be run out of power, thank heavens. Stupid socialists. I hope we've all learned with this stupid hyperinflation. Socialism is bad, evil, wrong. It's on paper it looks like it works, but in reality, 52 years into this game, I've never seen socialism work. And just look at my country's healthcare system right now. It's an absolute train wreck. So if anything, and of course, the Americans, I'm sure they'll probably talk a little bit about how socialism is a disaster there. Hyperinflation, double-digit inflation rates. Socialism's just awful. It's just awful. So I'm hoping, hope that we actually turn the corner. The socialists get run out of power, get a little bit of a balance in the marketplace. If anything, the socialists are in complete control of the U.S. government right now to all intents and purposes, and so that's why you've had this one-directional market. Markets absolutely hate when one power is in charge, and I actually think that if the Republicans come storming back, the market's itself is going to breathe a huge sigh of relief. And interestingly enough, I think actually Bitcoin is right there. I think we have our dump into that sort of November election window, then coming out the other side into the end of the year. Just like the stock market, I think you're going to have a pretty substantial relief rally in crypto. As sort of people are like, thank heavens. People who actually believe in capitalism are coming back into the foray. And then also, too, probably a little different chart. I don't know whether I can show this or not. Let's see where I have this. Let's go. Now the question is, where the hell is it? I think this is the picture. Let's see. Yep, this is the one I wanted. These were the previous cycles. There's that happening event kind of window. And gee whiz, doesn't that look like it's just sort of business as usual? This is the 12 to 16 cycle. This is the 16 to 20 cycle, and here's the 20 to 24 cycle. So, you know, at the very least, we all go, oh, thank heavens, we're about, you know, about 70, 80% of the way through this shit. So, and, you know, it's such a, you know, I gotta say, as a capitalist, such a pain in the butt to have to wait through this. But at least we're now through it. At least the lion's share of it. Could there be one more dump here? And 23 is still a little bit of a shit show here as we go sideways and find that base? Maybe. You know, I'm actually thinking that 23 is going to look a lot more like this 12-16 cycle. Where we're basically on our knees. The public has completely lost all interest in crypto. And, you know, it's the OGs that are starting to put bases in these things. You know, one thing I'm a little concerned about, you know, and, you know, you can kind of see it on a bunch of names. I don't know whether Ethereum's the right way. But actually, maybe we can even see it on some of these names. Where is that? Yeah, here. Some of these names are starting to look kind of perky. Like if we look at Algo, for example. I suppose I'm going to put that away for now. You know, kind of like I'm worried that I'm seeing a lot of sort of, okay, we're basing and people are like, all right, let's hunt W's, let's get ready to go. But there's one more FU, and then they bring it back, and this, of course, kills the public, and then we go sideways and then start working our way higher. So if we look at a lot of these names, I remember, you know, I've been through this is my third crypto cycle here. So like Algo, for example, could they, you know, if anything, I'm a little leery when the bottom looks this pristine, because look at what they did here, right? And actually, this is interesting, right? 2019. So, you know, things were looking pretty good, and they actually got, and then bang, one more fuck you, just to break the kids' hearts one last time. Could you make the argument that this is some sort of crazy-ass head and shoulders pattern? I mean, it's kind of weird looking, but, you know, I get the feeling that that's what we're in store for here. I also don't like taking bottoms that happen so quickly. Usually these bottoms have to look like a saucer over time. And you sort of have repeated heartbreaks, and then we finally start turning up. Momentum starts turning up. You know, probably, and this is one of the reasons why I really like working off of weekly charts, is you can kind of see how long that took to develop. Yeah, there were fits and starts. Yeah, we had a sort of a false breakout here. But then all of a sudden, bang, one more final FU. And I'm a little concerned. Notice that this happened in like February, March. I still think there's one more dump this winter that we have to be cognizant of. So, you know, I see a chart that looks like this. I want to get bullish, but I just wonder whether we're just a little bit early in this process. Maybe we start working up, you know, like I said, you know, if we can survive through that sort of November, you know, there might even be like a little bit of an uppie, a little bit of a downy into that November event, then your counter trend rally, then like into January, February like this. There's one more meltdown, then up, and then we start basing and up we go. So that's, you know, if someone was asking my opinion of what I thought was going to happen, I think it's going to look something along these lines. Now, you know, the good part about this is hopefully you all look at this and say, well, you know, Brian, if I'm just going to go in and I want to buy and I just want to be conservative and I'm not really going to freak out and I want to invest in these names, Well, I mean, you're not chasing the market down here. Unfortunately, it's these kids up here. They chase up here, and then they got to sit through that. Ugh. Or even worse, they chase up through here, and they got to sit through that. Ugh. So, ironically enough, they always say public buys up markets, institutions buy down markets. So, I mean, I'm not commenting on this story in particular, but I will say, if I like the fundamental story and I liked who's involved in the story, this is telling me to start accumulating. And there are a lot of names that look like this. We follow a weekly commodity trend survey. I was kind of just alluding to that a bit earlier. And for whatever it's worth, if you want to go over to the Rumble, we have the most recent weekly commodity trend survey. It's a 2-hour video where I basically go through all the currencies, the financials, the stock indexes, the metals, and the energies. And then on this coming weekend, I'll do the ags and this foods and fibers and meats, etc. But in essence, it's the same concept. We don't really do crypto in earnest, other than, in essence, I would have run it all off of the commodities before. But you can see how many, these are all the sort of primary markets that we'd like to cover. But here's crypto, and interestingly enough, look at what's on top here. We have one market that's actually issuing an outright buy signal, and that's ETC. Again, I have to ask whether we're maybe a little bit early in this sort of saucer bottoming kind of phase. If we could get our butts up through these highs on ETC, then I'd be like, yep, this thing's ready to rock and roll. And the trend has turned back higher. And that would be sort of like breaking through here. Gee whiz, we could actually see that happening going forward. And I just wonder whether maybe we're a little bit early. And it looks like the market's trying to M out here. Kind of like what Paul was saying there a few minutes ago. This is actually now looking like top end of the range, bottom end of the range, and we're going to play ping pong for a while. But we wouldn't get this kind of cross in the moving averages unless we are very sort of washed out from these peaks. Like you're not going to get a bullish cross through here. They're already wickedly bullish. Then we get a bearish cross, and you see how long the bear is. So now at least we're sort of establishing a range and trying to turn back up. Are we a little bit early in calling the bottom? Considering our look on what these cycles usually look like, and I think the Bitcoin halving event is an excellent sort of proxy for when the official reset button is hit, and I think we still got about, probably about a good year or so to go. So in that time period, I could see names like this just sort of bump along and carve out those big honking wide W's and start moving back up. And interestingly enough, you see there are a lot of crypto names that are saying that they're at the bottom end of the range, like this Atom, for example. They're at the bottom end of the range, right? So you're not chasing. That's a good sign. But the moving averages haven't quite turned up here. And it kind of makes sense with this. You can see this should be resistance up in this area. Probably if we did like 38.2s off of this range, that's probably 38.2s. And this was a V bottom, so I wouldn't be surprised if we have to come back down and test this low. Then carve out that big honking weekly W, maybe even look something along these lines, and then start working our way back up. So still a bit early in calling the bottom, but at the same time too, are you chasing? I used to say in years gone by, and really ETC is a good example of that. Algo, same sort of thing. I mean, how we can put the ETC on here as well to see what this looks like here. And a little bit expensive. And, you can see that M now is confirmed. So I don't know whether I really feel comfortable stepping in on this one. But, as the general rule that I like to teach people, and this is more speaking to, look at Brian, I've got a career, I'm busy, and in this case, like little old lady kind of attitude. I'm off at Canasta, I'm in the garden, I'm living my life. Yeah, I want to participate, but you're my broker, you're trying to keep me out of trouble. Well, the broker would say, well, actually we're back into areas at or below reload zones that if you just want to simply dollar cost average your way into these ideas, it's not such a terrible market. You want to time your purchases because you're a big badass trader and you just only want to make profits and all that kind of fun stuff. Well, maybe just cool your jets. I don't think there's a huge hurry, especially with the M staring you in the face there. And there's a number of markets that are all looking like this. If we, what did I want to show you? If we go back to that, although I'm not quite sure where I had it, so I pulled up these charts. Where did I want to show you this? That's my dashboard. Where did the breadth go? Anyway, we can pull this back over up here. Maybe that was... Oh, yeah, here it is. So, there are a number of names that actually are looking really interesting down here. I think they're all coming into areas where you could start dollar cost averaging. I'm just not overly excited about taking huge bets right now. So, like Link, for example, I think this one's been a pretty popular name. You can see what's going on down here. Has the actual W confirmed yet? No. Are we at or below reload zones where little old ladies can actually start going and accumulating for the next cycle and not feel like they're walking into a trap? Absolutely. But you could even argue if we just draw a nice little simple trend line, something along those lines. This is not a bull until we actually get the W on the other side of the trend line. So still a bit of work to be done here. Maybe it looks like this. My hunch is it's probably something like that and then a nice wide base like that. That's what I'm kind of thinking. And then once we're into 2024, away we go. Yeah, notice that XRP was also on our leaderboard, wherever the hell that is. There we are. XRP sitting at 50% right now. Not giving us a weekly breakout just yet. But, very similar looking chart pattern. And the interesting thing about XRP is, there is the big honkin' W. And the W also came in on a bit of volume, so that's encouraging. Again, if we're thinking, little old ladies, no problem with you whatsoever accumulating down in here. Is this thing a screaming buy, trending higher? Well, I suppose if you go off of here, show me a W. Well, that's valid. I wonder whether maybe we've got to work something along those lines. And maybe we even do something like that. So we're trying to move up. And if anything, I like the idea that we're kind of stuck in that range right now. So is there some money to be made here? Well, you can see resistance is pretty far away. This is where it gets tricky because what exactly is the prevailing trend line? Since this high is slightly higher than that, I think actually something along those. So could we get a rally back up into these levels up in here? I don't see why not. And the interesting thing about TA is we're not really in the business of predicting the future. What we really want to do is we just simply want to say, look, I've seen W's work so long. Now, let's say I'm going to buy that W there. That all I'm going to do is step in and buy the W and force myself to take some profits at things like 2-to-1 risk rewards. So given where these trend line resistance levels are, and then probably if we do fibs going back up, 38.2 Collins pump chaser zone. Let's see where that is. Boom. There we go. Yep. Could we get a rally up into that area? Can it give you your 2-to-1? Could you even get a double off, right? That's 40 cents. Could we get a rally up into this 80-cent area to give you that sort of sell half on a double scenario? Yeah, it's there. So I wouldn't fault you if you did take that trade. What I would just simply say, though, is, once, if anything, once this 38.2 is done, I don't know, maybe that's a bit aggressive, but could we maybe do something like that and work our way through that 23 into 24. And in a weird sort of way, you can kind of see that, the saucer bottom is actually going to be an inverse of what that image looks like. So something along the lines of, where are we here? It's one of these darn things. There it is. So if we go boom, boom, and then flip that over. There we go. So this rally right here is actually this. So it's a little bit hard to see, but nonetheless, base, and then look at the choppiness over here. So kind of like what Paul was telling you, try and force yourself to come in and buy at the bottom end of ranges. And I could very easily see this right here. You can see we W, break out, then come right back down to the original, then another big breakout, then come down and wash these lows, so right back down to the original. So my hunch is you're probably going to get several opportunities here over time to sneak in off of those levels. And I said this before, I don't know whether this is exactly the same, but it sure looks similar. Often what I've found in my career is you'll look back at a range over time and you'll say, gee whiz, the darn market actually ends up Wing out right off that 78.6. Is that exactly accurate here? It's pretty darn close. So it's interesting that that W is coming in here. Suppose the one thing I would be asking is why the moving averages have not turned back up here. So there they are. You can see how close this will move from the 5, which is basically the bottom end of the range, and setting up as a potential trade. You can see how these moving averages, the fast moving averages actually started to curl up, and the sort of medium-term moving average is sloping down. So you can see how there's going to be a fight here pretty soon. And if that crosses back bull, then I think this thing actually is back in rally mode. So, if anything, hats off to you. If you had the patience and discipline not to get sucked into the long side. And we had a bunch of people last year, remember, who were like, well, this thing's an endless bull, and, this time it's different and all that. Horse hockey. This is all the same crap, just different pile. If you were one of those people that just was patient and didn't chase and said, look, I'm going to wait for reload zones, I'm going to wait for weekly Ws, we're like, I'd say about 80-90% of the way through the crap that you had to sort of suffer through to wait for the next bull. Probably also, final comment on this guy. Notice how this was that sort of, 18 meltdown. There was our ultimate Fed bottom there. And then you can see the W finally came in here, then an inverted head and shoulders. Even they washed that low to a certain degree. But I'd say that this thing was back in the bull, sort of like over here. So how long did that take? From there to there. This wasn't the top of the market. In fact, actually it was a little bit earlier. Maybe we'll even go say something like that. If we project that over this high, you can see, like, what I'm worried about is that we're in this right here, and there's one more FU leg to go to the downside. And I like that happening through that early 23. Also, too, kind of like what we were saying earlier, I would prefer that to look like a nice saucer bottom. So, maybe they're painting a nice little rally, up, and then whoosh, one more low into sort of the winter of next year. Wash out these weak hands. I could very easily see a scenario like that. So, caveat emptor. Suppose Ethereum. It's pretty choked. Had the sell half on a double order there at like 20, I think it was like 2,550 bucks or something like that. And we got to a high here at 2030. I just missed my sell off on a double order by a hair. We were liquidating this particular account because we want to clean up the books at TRI. So I just gave the team the instructions just to start liquidating. Wasn't overly concerned one way or the other. But I guess it's sort of same sort of thing. Ideally, these bottoms, I want them to look like saucer bottoms. So, yes, we're coming screaming down like a son of a gun. But does that look like this saucer? I don't think so. Maybe we have to do something like that. This is going to take a while. I would not look at a chart that looked like this and say that that's near a bottom. If anything, this almost looks like it's sort of like right in this phase right here. So we're working our way lower, right? If we even just do a nice little time horizon, actually probably better here. Let's do this one first. So there, and here we are there. So that's just about right. So 49 weeks. So from this peak to here, and yeah, notice that was that final capitulation dump, which I think needs to happen here to sort of mark that bottom. So we're in this phase right now. We got this one more FU, and if anything, also too, notice that we're coming into the end of the year. So if you think about it from a capital gains perspective, there are going to be people that bought, Ethereum up top here, and especially, how does that Michael Saylor guy? I don't understand how the hell he was able to get as much credibility in the marketplaces that he had, because he just horrible market timing. There were tons and tons of people that came in, of course, just blindly following his lead, going and buying all this crap up top here. Raoul Paul, I think that's another one that's sort of supposed to be an expert in investing. And he swallowed this pill, hook, line, and sinker. And those people, maybe they made money in other venues. Maybe they were long U.S. dollars. I know that Beamish guy, he was touting being long U.S. dollars. But maybe they have capital gains elsewhere, and they're actually highly incentivized to actually sell this asset into year end to book the capital loss. And that's basically what this event. I could also even argue too that into the end of 2019 there was a pretty weak market in Ethereum into the year end. Same sort of thing, booking the capital losses. Interesting how 2020 was basically an uppie. And so there was no big capital loss booking, no big sort of panic dump. If anything, at the end of 2020, we went the other direction. So I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is I do like the idea that we sort of swoon into year end here. Then go through it. Now, do we have to do one more FU? Maybe. But in essence, through 23, we are looking for that base. Interestingly enough, this one did not have the dramatic bounce that Bitcoin had back to 61.8. Maybe this one bounces back to 61.8 for, unlike Bitcoin. The only problem that I have with any kind of appreciable rally now in Ethereum is the fact that it's not POW anymore. And because it's POS, there's going to be an explosion in the number of coins outstanding. The whole adage was have a certain amount of coins, and your payout for validating the POS network should provide you an income for the rest of your life. I don't really like that talk because I watched ADA do exactly the same thing. And last cycle, guys who were loading up and doing their master nodes and all that crap up at the top of the market, watch them one by one all get destroyed as they just slowly, relentlessly brought that down. I suppose we could pull up an ADA chart to show you. Now, does Ethereum now share the same fate? And again, what I really want to see for me to be bullish is I want to see that massive saucer bottom. And we're nowhere near that. Right? I don't know what the hell it looks like, but it's probably through here. Then the final piece, and of course, if you're a TRIer, you already know this. But if you're watching this video and you're not really familiar with this Benner cycle, I think was a very, very good gauge. Just sort of validating this whole idea that Bitcoin and Ethereum and crypto really in general probably is weak. I would make the argument the whole damn risk market, until the Fed has actually come out and publicly say that they want to encourage growth, they want to encourage risk-taking in the marketplace, they want to encourage people to come back into the stock market, invest, right, like Granny was doing there a few years ago. We got to get through this Benner cycle. And you'll notice that 2026 should be a cycle peak. So if we go back to this image, that lines up perfectly. Where not only are we coming out of the Benner cycle, we have halving events. And of course, if we think 4-year cycles, then really, we can, I mean, who knows which one it's going to look like. But if we assume it's like a 12 a 12 to 16 cycle coming up next, and let's assume hypothetically that this is our base somewhere against this sort of, this, you can see the original weekly W and then the checks of it, which sort of set up your base going forward. So there's your weekly W, there's the base that's sort of a check. So if we assume that that's going to be our base somewhere in that area, then that takes us up to, interestingly enough, right, that number right there, $700,000 on Bitcoin. I don't know. Call me crazy. I don't know whether that's even realistic or not, but I mean, what I do find fascinating about this whole damn story is the politicians have not stopped spending money. It looks like they're more than happy to hyperinflate our economy, and if anything, this is exactly why Bitcoin was built. Is that it should, with these halving events, it has built-in deflation. So as a result, it just does nothing more than just offset the money printing. And in a weird sort of way, I don't think it's going to be quote-unquote money printing, because they've already done the money printing. It's already happened. Now it's increasing the size of the economy to justify this runaway, deficit spending world that, of course, was brought into effect with Mr. Reagan so long ago. So anyway, point of the matter here is, that Benner cycle, it's sort of suggesting that 23 is going to be a crappy year. But I really like this thinking, everything that I've said here today, whether it be Ethereum, I don't know, something like this, can we get a base that forms here? That'll tell you that, okay, we've got something to work with. All these little altcoins that I was showing you there, one after the other, but I put all the charts away now. But they look like they need to have this year-long base. It makes perfect sense because, ironically enough, what are you supposed to do down here at the bottom? It's years of hard times, and I definitely think that the public is going to think that, basically investing is over. Bitcoin's going to zero. You're going to hear that constantly. We're probably going to hear talk about 51% attack. Now, that wouldn't surprise me. Very low prices, but here's the kick in the pants. Can you, as an investor, understand that actually this is a good time to buy stocks? Ironically enough, when this gentleman actually did this report up like 200 years ago, the primary asset that people invested in was real estate. So, his big mantra was that's when you want to go buy your corner lots and you want to lock in the real estate investments. This is the hardest part of investing, is we have to buy when others are crying and we have to sell when others are yelling. Can you do that? Were you selling? Were you taking profits when the cycle was up top here? I tell you, it was awfully difficult to get people to take profits through this. But we'll see how you do next cycle. All right, so there's sort of my overall market summary. I hope that helps. It's interesting that if you look at things like stock market Bitcoin proxies, they look almost exactly the same as Bitcoin in crypto land. There's going to be no difference. I would the same prognostication forecast that I have in Bitcoin in on Stamp or Binance or wherever. Ironically enough, it's actually the same thing as what we're seeing on the legacy stock markets. It's incredibly similar. So again, same sort of thing. I'm looking for that FU move. Then I'm looking for the market to actually come right back to where we are, go sideways for a good chunk of 2023. I don't know whether we can really rally in earnest here before the end of the year. I still think, and I kind of like this thinking, that this cycle trough is going to look like to 1216, that sort of sideways pattern. And then coming out of the end of 2015, this was the second Silk Road auction. The whole market perked up and it was like, all right, we're right back into the bull. And basically it didn't look back following that. So ironically enough, when's the absolute best time to invest in Bitcoin? I'd say it's about 1 year from now. So, if you can handle another little push to the downside, which is probably going to really break a lot of the public's hearts, okay, fine. Maybe take your shot. Start accumulating the altcoin stories that you like. I don't think there's a hell of a lot of hurry through 2023. Again, Mr. Benner. But once we're through this window, there should be a really, really nice investing window here that takes us into 26. So, if anything, also, too, final note, as we had sort of said, I do like these equity markets actually being a little bit firmer. So, you're probably going to see a few of the altcoins, and you even saw on Paul's chart that it looked like Bitcoin was actually trying to put in a bit of a W here, right? So, for the traders, and you got to love this about Paul, as he's in there in the trenches just taking setups day in, day out, well, there's his range. As this points out, I really like the idea that the market was going to come down and test that low from the summer and then put in a tight little W and actually rally into sort of mid-October here. Then something's going to hit us across the fucking nose and it's going to knock the whole market to new lows, probably like another big whack of inflation problems. But considering the way that this Bitcoin chart looks right here, you can see there is that base. And it was really interesting watching the stock markets over here. I was tweeting all day today about this incredibly powerful level. So there is that low that I was talking about there just a moment ago. So you can see how they brought the market right down against that level and then just jackknifed it right out of there. So you can kind of see that little sort of prognostication dump, then jackknife right out of there, then we'll come back down, maybe make a W here, and then turn up. And actually this should produce a half decent little rally. So if we look at Bitcoin, where did I just have that? All right, knucklehead. Looks like I put it away. Yeah, there it is. So, there's a W. You can see it. I suppose if we rally back to, let's maybe go out to like a 4-hour chart. There it is. So, that sort of dead cat bounce move up here into October, back up against these sort of early September range on this is the stock market, like the ES. On Bitcoin, I got a funny feeling they're going to take a shot at that high here. And if anything, what this kind of looks like to me is a massive kind of like inverted head and shoulders. Yeah, and actually I see a number of different patterns here. But if we're a nice, simple sort of conservative pattern, is this is a shoulder, this is a head. We rally back up into that shoulder or the neckline area. Then we come back down, make another shoulder, and then back up. So there is that kind of scenario on the table. That is a W, right? So I can understand the day traders. As Paul was sort of saying, if you drill down to that sort of, actually here we'll just do a 1 hour chart. There we are. Down at the bottom end of the range, I mean, look at that W. There's it right there. So it doesn't surprise me if Paul said, hey, you know what, I'm thinking about taking a long shot off of that bottom end of the range. It makes sense to me. Don't know whether this thing is really quote-unquote broken out yet. It still looks to me like we're in this bottoming range here. But I definitely like the idea that into that October window, they're probably going to take the market right back up to that sort of 22.5, 23,000 area. Would not surprise me one bit. So, yeah, be prepared for that, folks. And ironically enough, that's actually probably the last thing anybody's thinking about right now. So, I don't hear anybody hearing. The one thing we did hear today, that, the sovereign debt issue is, again, a little bit out of control. These bond markets and all the fixed income, probably the best place to show you is that 10-year chart. It was turning into an absolute train wreck. And we saw a lot of the sovereign debt issues, the British pound, for example. The central bankers came in and said, we're going to start defending the British pound in the marketplace and defending the British bond market. So if anything, that's kind of broke the inertia. You can kind of see the market was going parabolic to the downside. So maybe on that event, we were going straight down here. They came out and said, hey, we better do something. So maybe on that event, that's the catalyst that sort of starts this little dead cat bounce. The only issue there, though, is that you should never take a trade in the direction of an intervention, because usually the market is right. And the market, clearly they're taking all of these European garbage paper down. They're taking the bond market down. I think that's definitely the direction. This is just nothing more than the market got a little too far, too fast to the downside. Probably what ends up happening here is things like 38.2 bounces back to value low. And then, that's through that middle of October period. And then once we get to here, then the market, rolls over and we head back down and test those lows in earnest. That's probably the scenario here. And interestingly enough, I suppose I keep talking here, but all these points I think are very valid. I don't actually think it's the American market that's in trouble this go round. And the stock market, yes, we are playing against these key lows. Maybe, the issue with the stock market is, what would be healthy here? What would be normal? Well, very normal is 50% trading range bounces. Could we get a scenario where, like we said, we bounce into mid-October, then we head down, big FU against that low, the old historic high, the bottom of value, and, unfortunately the 1% wants you to sell, so they're in, and they control the media. So they're going to have you thinking that this is a crash scenario. And I don't think it is. I think, if anything, this is just technically overdue. It needs to happen. The issue, of course, is not these markets, because he's already gone through his housing crisis. The issue, and of course, everybody loves it when I go off on these tangents, but the issue, I think, is these markets, right? This Canadian bond market and the Canadian stock market. So in an interesting sort of way, if we do 50% rules here, you can see that there's going to be quite a bit more damage done in like these commodity countries. And, maybe we have to come down and fill in these gaps. And this is actually where your crash scenario is, because that's going to represent a fairly big percentage drop. Anyway, we'll see what happens. Only time will tell. But ironically enough, if I was going to be calling crash, the United States market is actually the last place in the world I would be calling crash for. It would be more these kind of markets that really need to get hit hard. So anyway, go figure. Okay, so that gives you sort of the 65,000 foot view. You know, I thought Paul did an excellent job sort of looking at the very shorter term view. So hopefully put the two together and you got some usable information here for you. Ben, I don't know, you feel like adding anything to the conversation here tonight? Is Ben still here? He might be gone. There he is.
No, that was great. I'd love to get a screenshot of that, the Bitcoin chart, where you have the
That one?
cycles. Yeah, if we could get a link of that, and I'll pop it on the app.
Sure. Isn't that a
that'd be
cool
great.
image?
Yeah, that'd be great.
I mean, the shitty thing is, you can see, I mean, we still got a little bit more crap to go through. But on balance, it sure looks to me like it's just business as usual. Now, would you like the link so that people can look at it, or the image?
Yeah, just the link. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna pop it in the chat.
And I'll throw it into our little room here.
Okay.
There you are, there, and there, and there, and there. So there you go. Merry Christmas.
Thank you, sir.
Paul, anything you want to add to all of that? Did I step on your toes anywhere with anything that I said there?
No, why? No.
I just I don't know whether
I made a lot of profit with Ripple before he break out from that W.
Yeah, let's
Last
go
week.
down to your US the Bitcoin chart. And you like to trade over on Binance, right?
Yeah,
And is it the perpetual contract
Yeah.
that you trade?
yeah, perpetual, yeah.
So what is it? BTC USD, is it like P or something?
USDTP.
That one there? No. This one here?
No,
That?
no, a T and then a P on the ticker.
USDTP? Like
Yeah,
that?
exactly, the first one.
Tethers perpetual futures. All right, there you go. See, I did like how you were saying that, gee whiz, that sure looks like it's trying to bottom there, right?
Yeah, nice W.
It hasn't quite turned back up, but it sure is close. It's trying like the Dickens, eh?
Yeah,
And I thought it was
still in the
also sorry.
we are still in the range. From my part, we can range a lot more. It's really profitable.
Yeah. So basically, I think the trading range looks something, probably even something like that. I wouldn't even be surprised if they wash these highs a little bit here. But I thought it was interesting. I don't know whether either of you follow it, but we just had that big Schmitta event. So like once every 7 years, the Jews, they have like an official squaring of the books. Debt repatriation event. And, I think as I had said earlier, I like that sort of that squaring of events is happening all through here. Now, if I understand correctly, they have till like the first week of October to finish up all that schmitting. But I do find it interesting that the market is as weak as it is into that event. Is that basically a squaring up of the books? And actually that profile is very interesting. Can you guys see how there's a bunch of business that needs to be done there, and there's a bunch of business that needs to be done there? So you can almost see you can almost make an argument that the FU scenario is being set up. So they're going to get a lot of people to FOMO buy on a break above here, and it's going to slam into that moving average and probably stop the rally. But they'll FOMO buy, which will fill in that part of the profile. And then they got one more date down below. And, of course, big dump and people panicking, probably lots of mass liquidations. And that fills in that part of the profile. To me, this profile right here. In fact, that's the image that jumps out of me most today. Is you can literally see. We'll call these. I hate to say it. I won't swear, but use your imagination. I think we're going to call this the FU upside level and the FU downside level. And my hunch is that both of these are going to get washed here over the next probably 4 to 6 months. And then, of course, according to our rule, this thing isn't trending higher until you actually see a W on the other side of this trend line. But if anything, it's good. This is the whole point of being patient and disciplined. It's just waiting for this to happen. But I could very easily see that they run this up, boom, and of course everybody's, oh, this is a bull, this is a bull. We slam into that moving average resistance. Then we come back down against that very same trend line. And then, of course, wash all these guys, fill in both ends of the profile, back and forth, and that sets your base. I like that thinking a lot. So if you're thinking about timing your purchases, just be forewarned that I can see FUs developing on both sides of this market. And for whatever it's worth, if I was, I gotta say, I was in Romania and no, I wasn't. I was in Portugal, but I was hanging out with a bunch of Romanians, trying to figure that one out. And Z-Band G is, I think it's his wife. And she was so cool. She just kept going, look left, look left, look left, constantly through the whole weekend that we were together. And I gotta say, probably if we were gonna do the look left thinking, I think we're battling with these levels right now. See how that low there? Yeah, that look left low, and then that look left low. Right? That's the current war du jour. Look at that perfectly. So I think we're battling with this traffic area here, but I wouldn't call a bottom until we actually revisit this traffic area, because I think that this is your base right in there. And yeah, so you can see how the downside FU, I like this area as your ultimate base. And actually, we have one of our instructors, Grim. He often tells people that, he'll get a breakout on an asset and he wants to throw his buy order in right down in that area, right there. Because that's really where the market stopped going down and somebody turned it back up. So given that, and then our FU candle levels, yeah, I just don't think that, now is not the time to be a hero. Now, having said that, you want to join Paul on the lower time frames and you're just scalping back and forth and clipping this market as we play the range, nothing wrong with that at all. So, okay, actually that's I think probably a really good image. Maybe we can add that into our sheet, right? And we can even just say, this is why I really like the weekly commodity trend survey kind of report. As you can see there, we had a pretty nasty fail level. We had one there. It turned out to be a bit of a head fake. We had another buy that came in. But pretty clear sell signal, and that sell pattern is still very much alive. You can see where these cross back up here. That's what we want to see, really, to tell us that this thing's actually trending bull. So it's probably going to be a little bit while yet. So, how many we? In fact, how old is this trend now? 36 weeks. And when I was running my weekly commodity trend survey, usually markets, they didn't like going down more than about, I don't know, we'll say 60 weeks. Oh, I lost my camera again. Jesus, Brian's talking a hell of a lot. These batteries don't last very long, eh? Well, I'll try and do this again. Oh man, my shoulder is just killing me. Alright, well, let's see if we can do this. this one. I've got 3 batteries here. I'll probably go through all 3 of them before the show's done tonight. Alright, we're back. Jeez, look at that. Brian's getting pretty quick at that. Boom, 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 boom. Alright. And there's the camera. Yay. Whoops. Now I've just messed everything up. Alright, something like that. Okay, so usually these things, they stop trending after about a year, right? And of course, remember the last Bitcoin bear, although we don't see it on this thing. Right, last Bitcoin bear, that was about a year. That was about a year. So I don't really see any reason why this wouldn't be a year as well. So. All right, so that's about an hour and a half. I mean, I suppose we could do some requests for the next few minutes if you'd like. Let's see how you guys are doing. Apparently, Canon believes in EOS. All right. Up first or down first? Just take your pick. Wouldn't we fill the bottom gap since we are at the bottom time-wise for Bitcoin cycle? I would definitely say that we're doing this right now. And I think there has to be one more capitulation dump. I mean, maybe that was I don't think it was. But I definitely like the idea that there's sort of like one more. And then, ironically enough, what I actually really like is just a sideways market that drives everybody crazy. That would actually be the evidence to me that the market has bottomed, is if the volatility just comes right out of price and we just go sideways and start making higher highs and higher lows. So I don't know whether that speaks to your question. Josh, hey, there's Josh, the Josh McGowan. Hey, Ben and Paul. Good night, guys, and value BB. All right. MC Shaba. All right. Vaca! Hey, what does vaca mean in Romanian?
In Romania,
Yeah, I think it means the same thing in Portuguese, doesn't it?
vaca means cow.
Oh, Kathy Wood resigned? There you go. If that's not an anecdote of a bottom of a market, I don't know what is. That's cool to see. I mean, not for her.
Very nice.
And of course, we better not call Kathy a vaca. That wouldn't be very nice.
No.
Wow, you like that one, Paul?
No. I don't like to call it that way.
Actually, you know what? Somebody says here, tomorrow new moon. Actually, that's Josh McGowan, yeah. On-chain peeps are seeing the flushing of the hard and OGs essentially left for the most part. Yeah, I like that thinking. Too bad. I wonder how the guys like Willy Woo are doing these days. I bet you they're dying 1,000 deaths. George Washington and Ben Frank do not appreciate. Oh, really? Oh, I don't know what I said there. Looks like a limp-wristed W. All right. Limp something. Can't hear Brian on YouTube. Oh, no? Oh, yeah, because while Paul was doing his presentation, I muted myself. So sorry, guys. I kind of fucked that up. I like Fet chart and Dot looks cheap. All right, let's see what he's got here. Did I give you this image here, Ben? I wouldn't mind.
Not this one, no. Yeah, if I could get a link to that, I'll pop it in for today's.
Yeah, I like that chart. So yeah, those two charts put together, I really like. And then also too, if we do the cost of production studies, they're actually sitting down in this area as well. So I do like that kind of thing. But we'll maybe do that another week. Okay, so now that I've given Ben that chart, let's go see what David BRTE says. I like FET. So what the hell's FET? Do either of you guys know what this is?
FET USDT. Yeah, that one.
All right, let's see what. Ooh, yeah, that looks pretty.
Nice location.
Again, though, David, I think you said that you were going to be leaving and you watch this later on. Do you see this reoccurring theme? This is exactly what I mentioned earlier. I think it was like Link or something we were looking at. Notice how they head faked everybody into thinking that there was a bottom here. They made a beautiful weekly W, but the moving averages were still very bearish. So you go, well, that Beamish guy says weekly W, so I'm going to buy there. And then there's one more fuck you into like March of 2020. So I definitely like this kind of thinking here. Be careful here, okay? Notice the moving averages are still very bearish. I love the location, right? This is a kind of name that if you're like, Brian, I like the fundamental story. I like who's involved. I like the structure. I want to get a position established. I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to buy once every, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, maybe once a month, and I'm just accumulating. Love it. Hugs and kisses. Awesome. But to actually call bottoms, go mortgage your, the farm, because this is a rip-roaring bull market, I don't think so. I think if anything, you almost want to let an initial rally happen, which forces the moving averages to cross. And then, really the trade of the millennium kind of idea, which I know all of you guys really want, is, hunting the reload zone following that big rally. And then sneaking your way in right here. While the moving averages are still somewhat bullish, in comes a W, back go the moving averages positive, and away we go. So just be careful on this, because I think you're coming in sort of the historical comparison is here. And in a weird sort of way, I know it doesn't really look very clean, but hopefully you can see that this is sort of like left shoulder, head, right shoulder. Neckline looks like a train wreck because it's like so steep like that, but can you see that head and shoulders? Keep in mind the whole market, the whole world really, our whole universe wants to be a fractal. This is the way price changes. So I like your enthusiasm. I think you got excellent trade location. I think you're just a little bit early here to call a new bull market. But on balance, I think you're heading in a good direction. And then, just simply put, we've said this before, it's nice and simple. You'll notice that boom, boom, give me a W on the other side of this trend line. And that W actually had to come in over here. And then maybe, like I said, even over here. Well, same thing here. So there is your predominant trend. This will be a buy when we W on the other side of this trend line, somewhere over here. And again, through that 2023 time period, like you're thinking. This is a kind of name where I'd add it to a short list and I'd say, all right, let's throw ourselves on a dollar cost averaging plan. I want to accumulate a position. I have full confidence that next bull cycle, at the very least, we're going to go back up and test these highs. And really, I might even argue, call me crazy, but this thing, if it does perform to expectations, is probably projecting somewhere up in here next cycle. That's not unrealistic. I've seen that happen many times. So, not a bad idea. You're definitely thinking in the right direction. Do we want to add that to our watch list there, Ben? I don't know. What do you think?
Sounds good.
All right. Let's see. What I think I'd want to do is let's see if we can go boom, and we'll just go boom, 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 something like that. Boom, boom, boom. And if anything, I would prefer it not to be that steep, but something along the lines of maybe, yeah. I don't know whether that's the low I want to use for the left shoulder or not, but something like that. That wouldn't surprise me. Get us on the other side of this trend line, show me W's, and away we go. And if anything, you'd almost prefer that we got a nice little tight W like right down in here to be able to enter. Something like that. Alright, so we'll give you that bad boy. All right, and then DOT. Let's see what DOT looks like. It's another do it versus USDT. All right, so my telephone's telling me that it's paying attention. That was Big Brother saying, you better be careful, Brian. Pay your taxes or we're going to throw you in the concentration camp. Sorry. All right, so boom, 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 boom. Interesting level. So we would like to see this punch through the trend line. Interesting how we're fading against it. Trend, of course, has been down now since last January. Almost a full year. Kind of like what we said before. Yeah, I've found in my career that markets don't really like trending one direction for more than about a year or year and a half. So if anything, as we come into that year end, I would actually be looking for this to be basing out and starting to put in some sort of bottom, getting ready for the next bull. Dead cat bounce levels. Good old Collins pump chaser zone. So where the hell is Colin? There he is. A revisit against these highs probably next spring. It's not unrealistic. Could you get a double off here if you just put yourself on a dollar cost averaging buy program against these original lows and looking for this area to establish that risk-free trade? That's not a terrible idea. Is this a buy right now? We're trending down very violently and we just put in a new M. So I don't think there's a huge hurry here. And if anything, probably looking at this on a log scale, you have to be a little bit concerned about this. I don't know if this is even the whole price history. It might be, it might not. And what I do see here, if we change this to a log, is shoulder, head, shoulder, neckline. So that means that level there. That high back to the neckline. You basically project that right off the neckline, and that should give you your target. So we'll go there. Whoops, no, let's try that again. We'll go there to there, and of course it's just eyeballing. It's not scientific. And then there to there, and we broke down there. Yeah. So I do like a revisit, especially against these two lows right there. That tail right there, wicks and tails like to be eaten. I do like that. And again, this actually looks visually like we were kind of saying with those other names, that we're probably a little too early to be calling a bottom. What we really want is that nice long saucer bottom. So this ends up looking like kind of like a head and shoulders. So left shoulder, then head, then right shoulder, and you get that saucer bottom look. That's what I would be looking for there. So probably a little bit early on this one. So, but like I said, if you're little old ladies, dollar cost averaging, keep it simple, stupid. Don't overthink this stuff. I like the name. I like the story. I know that Brian says that this will be a buy when we actually start like Wing out on the other side of this trend line here. So I'm not really in a huge hurry. If anything, I'm in accumulation phase. I understand that this is a saucer bottom. And if anything, I want to be buying when they're crying. So on any kind of weakness, you actually want to force yourself to step in there and buy. I don't have a problem with that. And, the same thing as the other one. Because that is a new high, believe it or not, I think actually that's our destination on the next bull. I don't see any reason why that can't happen. So it's going to take some time, don't get me wrong. But I don't see any reason why when this thing gets its act together and it starts rocking and rolling, if we start Wing out here, that we at the very least go up and test that high. But I think we actually trade to new highs. So go figure. All right, so I'll give you that one as well, Ben. And I don't know. Any other requests there? Let's see. People are going to bed. Ben is channeling Fat Albert. I don't understand that reference. Did
I think
you?
it's when I first came on and I said, hey, hey, hey,
Oh, okay. There
hey,
you
hey,
go. All right.
hey.
All right. Let's see. What time is that? That's about 8 o'clock. So we gave you a good couple hours. Not bad considering our first video back after the break. Closing thoughts? I mean, I suppose we probably ought to do our little prognostication. I don't know. Ben, since you were so overtly bearish and you were actually the only one who was even remotely correct, what do you think we're going to do here going forward? You think we go up, down, or sideways from here?
Maybe a 1.
A 1. All right, so slightly positive. I like the sound of that. Let's see. Ones. What do ones get? Ones get yellow. Oh, come sit next to me, you fine fellow. All right, Paul. What's the call, Paul?
On my part, 2.
Oh, well, if nothing else, at least Paul's
At least I'm
consistent.
consistent. I'm consistent with 1 and 2 and 1.5.
That's those Romanians. Romanians, they're just generally optimistic people in this world.
Yep.
Hey, all you 29 people over there on YouTube, go hit that like button and subscribe and ring Ben's bell. I don't know if Ben's got a bell or not, but do us a favor and make the Google people happy for us, please. Now, what the hell's Brian going to say? You know what I was really enjoying before I left, although I don't know how I'm going to put it on my chart here now. But I was going, and it's one of my charts. Yeah, maybe we'll do it on Tether here. What the hell? But I was, I think I had it on like a 4-hour chart. It's doing a nice sine wave, and it sure worked really well. So let's see what that tells us. Maybe there's a floor, there's a ceiling, so down, up, oh, not bad. I got a little disconnected here. Down, up, oh, disconnected again. Oh, now completely disconnected. Probably up there, down, up, down, up, down, up. And when's our next get-together? Maybe something like that. So next get together is the 5th of October. That'll be on the other side of the Schmitta. So where is the? Oh, that's the 5th right there. Oh, interesting. Right on its lows. So I hate to say it, I'm gonna have to go with a -1. Oh, we'll see how it goes. -1. So it's good that we have a nice spread here, so at least we're not all sort of bunched up. We don't all look like doofuses when we're all wrong in unison. So somebody's going to look like a genius here. Question is who?
Me.
Of course. Why did I even doubt that for a moment? All right. Closing thoughts. Paul, you're a man of many words, so what would be some closing thoughts from you tonight?
Why not? First of all, for level 1, there are some people even from Crypto Traders Arena. They are on level 1.
Oh, right on.
Pay attention to first part of the level 1. The biggest mistake you can make is just to don't have patience and don't give enough attention to the first 4 or 5 weeks, if I remember correctly.
Eating your vegetables. Eat your goddamn vegetables.
A lot of people, they don't have patience. They want candies, they want setups, they want indicators, they want divergence. No. You can use any tool you want after you learn the process. So try to pay attention and learn really well the first part. For little old lady guys and dollar cost averaging, it's time to pay attention. I guess, in my opinion, it's okay to start dollar cost averaging on using little old lady. Not all the money you have. But 0.5% on favorite project, I guess it's okay. At least in my 2 cents. And for traders, level by level setups and risk management. I risk maximum 1% on every trade I do these days. We are still on the hard mode. You see, it's a range, but sometimes it's really hard to frame a setup. So why risk more than 1%? You saw on weekly newsletter, only on the trades we post with entry, stop loss, and take profit, we made 10%, risking only 1%. We made more than 10%. So why you want to risk more than that? If you make 5 to 10% every week, you're a genius at the end of the year.
Pretty much.
So the idea is level by level setups and risk management for the traders and scalpers. I know a lot of people, they want to be traders, but it's a bit harder. So you have to respect the rules if you want to be consistently profitable. That's it from my 2 cents.
Something about, how does it go? Something about your business and being a king or something?
Treat market like a business and market will treat you like a king.
There you go. Sage words, my friends.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. Very well said. And, to all. I have to say, give a big shout out to the crypto community. People like you, Paul. Even hell, we might even get Da Vinci back in the fold. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get him hunting Davos again. But we got lots of referrals from site members, like influencers like you. So a big thank you.
I'm not an influencer.
Pardon me?
I'm not an influencer. I just have a small community.
Oh, yes, you are.
No, I'm not.
But you're a badass trader, so what the fuck? I'll take that.
I prefer the trader tab, not the influencer one. I hate influencers.
All right, screw the influencers. He's a badass trader. Point is that you are referring people to TRI and our education program. I think it's good quality education. I think you get good value for your money spent. So it's not really like it's some sort of crazy ass shill. But thank you very much for your belief in TRI and Brian's teachings. And that goes out to a big thank you to all you people. I was actually surprised, to be honest with you. I got the impression that the entire market was swooning. And if you talk to any other influencers out there, they're dying 1,000 deaths. And yet, actually, this current school term, we got actually a pretty darn big class. I was a bit surprised by that. So that's definitely got to be a vote of confidence for TRI. Ben, closing thoughts?
The app's been updated. So
sweet.
Jump in there and
that's this bad boy?
Get a hold of everything there. Yep.
Oh, you rock.
There you go. So it's got, there you go, fetch.
Yeah, look at that.
There's one from today. Yeah.
Oh, you are awesome.
Yeah. And then under the Are We There Yet tab, you can scroll down and you can see.
Are we there yet? How do I get, where's that?
On the middle of the phone, there's a little.
Oh, that's what this is? Are we there yet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and look at that. Son of a gun. You remember this image? Oh man, this was so cool. Remember when I was doing this? And we were saying, all right, well, we're probably going to have to come down here. And look at that. It actually did exactly what we were expecting. Incredible.
There you go.
Jeez, this is such a cool app you put together, man. This rocks. Oh, that's so cool. And actually, like we never even looked at these. Oh God. So next week we gotta look at it. And actually, see, look at this. This is exactly what we were thinking. This is so cool. Oh, awesome. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. We could probably even add, did you add in maybe, you got the Benner cycle in here now?
Yeah. And this is one, you mentioned the Shemitah cycle today. This is something I did up a while ago, but it's got the fourth turning in there. at the top.
Sweet.
So you can track the different generations diagonally through time.
Sick.
It's got the Shemitah cycles in there every 7 years,
Are
and then
you
the super
Jewish?
cycles in gold. No. Yeah.
Sorry, I was curious.
No, I mean, I grew up in a religious house,
Okay.
and so yeah,
You've heard of this Shemitah stuff before?
yeah, and I guess even I think even Muslim communities, yeah, it's part of their belief system as well.
Huh.
Given that, yeah, it falls in that first 5 books of the Bible.
So this is always a good sign, right? When we're in crisis. Jesus.
Right. Yeah. And I think that kind of it almost lines up with some of Cole's coming into that 27.
Oh no! Oh
Kind of,
goodness. A word of advice to all of you: make your money into this 20, and then once we hit this 26, 27, we better all get the out and go buy our islands and just disappear. Because oh boy. According to one guy on this site, all hell's supposed to break loose in 2027. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, right? But damn, this is cool. Oh, I'm so impressed. Oh, and you've got the Benner site. This is a cool little app, man. Damn cool.
And people can use it just like you're using it. You don't have to download it to your phone.
Oh,
you can use
cool.
it
And
just
you've
like
got this on here too. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Sweet. That's so cool. Thank you, Ben.
Absolutely. So if there's anything else that you ever want to see on there, or if anyone in the community wants to see on there, just drop it in the chat. And,
would it be politically incorrect to say double D's?
Double D's? You want to see some images of some double D's on there?
No, I'll leave all that. You YouTubers that are watching this later on, I'll leave that to your imagination. What the hell is Brian talking about? All right. Cool. Very impressive. I'm glad actually I checked back in with you here, Ben, and you told us about that. That's fucking awesome. Nice job. Okay. So I think we'll leave it at that for today. That's about 2 hours. Thank you so much, Ben. I don't know. Do you want to? I'll leave it up to you. You either have your camera on, and you can give the people a big wave, or you have your camera off, and they'll just imagine you waving. So there you are on the screen. So there he is. What a handsome guy. Big wave. I'll give you a wave. There I am in the corner, and there you are waving. Awesome. And Paul, he doesn't want to have any of it. Right? We're not going to get you to wave, are we?
No.
No. All right, guys. All right, everybody out there in YouTube, hope you enjoyed the offering. PMA for the win. All the best. And Paul, I think you have to do the honors. The only thing left for us to say here tonight is...
Bye for now.